Hello there, my name's Angela Nicholson and I'm here today to show you how to make these fabulous necklaces. It's all really easy to do and you can be making and wearing it within 1 hour. You firstly need the Wonder Knitter, which is what I've got in my hand, which comes to you in a little pack like so. It has two tools, a pink one and a yellow one, but we only use the pink one. So they clip on and off these tops, and when they clip on and off, you can turn your tool. I expect there's certain ladies of a certain age out there who can remember the old-fashioned French knitting. Well, this is very similar to it. In fact, it is French knitting. But this tool makes it easier for you to knit with more than one strand of yarn, which is what we're doing. Because this necklace has 2 or 3 strands. And all these necklaces here have the yarns mixed in packs, separate packs with between 1 and 4 strands of yarns to use. All fully hand washable branded names, and I hand pick them and hand wind them onto cards all individually to make lovely necklaces. So there's no 2 necklaces really ever the same. Now when we begin, we put our pink tool on, and when you undo your pack of yarn, which comes to you in kit form, 1 pack makes 1 necklace, and in there you get the yarn, the cube, which I'll speak to you about in a moment. The cubes are made of acrylic, really fabulous, non-scratchable, non-breakable, really nice little product. The yarn comes to you like so, and you just unpick the corner where it's sellotaped down and you're ready to go. Like so. This one I unpacked earlier, so it would have been just held there. I just unpack it, take off my beginning, and now I'm going to show you now with 1 strand, because when you get experience after a little bit of practice, you can use up to 4 strands, which makes it really interesting and really, really addictive. So you begin, hold your tool up, thread the yarn down through the center and have about 6 to 9 inches at the bottom. You're going to use that yarn to make good your end when you finished it. So you're going to hold your yarn up in the center and you're going to wrap your yarn round anti-clockwise round the first peg. Then around the second peg, turning your dial clockwise. So you get it wrapped round. So although you've only wrapped the yarn round once, you have actually got 2 stitches on there because you've gone all the way around. Then you put your yarn on your rest, which is your tension rest, and you just trap the end with your little finger. Now, the first row is the hardest to do of all because you've got to leave it firm enough to stay on there, but loose enough to get the stitch off. So the first row is a little bit tricky, but once you've mastered that, you're away. So I'm going to unravel my end to give me some tension. Now, I've got 2 stitches there that I've got to get over because I wrapped it over round once, which actually gave me 2 stitches. I put my 2 stitches over and I'm going to give it a little pull. Then I'm going to go on to the next one, and there's my 2 stitches. Now this little tool, the pink one, has got a groove in it. So although I can't see my yarn sometimes, which is hidden behind it, if I go in backwards with my pick and go from the top of the groove to the bottom of the peg, I get all the yarn ready to go over, and I just turn it over like so. And then it sort of looks like that. Now, and give it a little tug from down. But now that's the hard bit over. Now I've just got 1 strand and I'm going to be taking it, lifting it over. So on this peg I've got 3 stitches. It's useful to keep your tension post, which is this one here, away from your hand. So keep it sort of 10 past 12, and you can then turn your dial around with your thumb and away you go. You're just lifting the first stitch over the second. Really easy. And you keep going, unwinding your yarn to the length that you want it. Now, all the packs have got yarn on the packs for each individual necklace to make a necklace up to about 20 inches long. Well, if you're using fastenings, these little things to do your necklace up, like so, you don't really need it much more than 20 inches long. Maybe if you're a tall lady or you have got a very large neck. The ideal being that you don't need to knit every bit of yarn on this card. You've got enough yarn on the card to knit up to 20 inches, but more like 17.5 to 18 inches is more about your normal, allowing the little ½ an inch for the weight that this will bring down. You carry on with this now until it's the length you want. And to do that, you can either measure it, just hold it up and put a tape measure there, or if you've got a necklace the length you like, you can pick it up, but the necklace you like, and just let the two fall down to get the length you like. So it's really easy now. You're just going on, and you will really pick up some speed once you get going. Give it a little bit of help there. So the ideal is it's threading onto these 3 stitches and it will be coming out of the bottom. There's mine just coming down now. Right, I'll move on to this pink one now, because the pink one I started earlier and able to show you how it comes down out through the bottom of the tool. So it is quite useful when you start this, because it only takes you, well, maybe 20 minutes when you first do it. But when you get more experienced, you can really do them in about 10 minutes. That's all it takes to do your cord. So it's good if you can do it from beginning to end all in one go, instead of putting it down, you know, leaving it, going answering the phone, you know, washing on the line, whatever. But it's better if you do it all in one go, because then your tension remains the same throughout. So I'll just carry on now. On this one, I've got 2 strands. And however many strands I've got, I'm going to treat it as one, as if I've only got 1 strand. You just unravel it from your card, like so. And you can see the 2 strands there that I've got. In this one, I've got like a lilac Lorex and a ribbon yarn. And all the yarns are different, and they all vary from kit to kit. So you won't get 2 necklaces the same in any kit to make them individual. All these little cubes slide on your necklace when you've finished, and they do slide over the fastening. These fastenings are nickel free, so if you're making them for presents, they won't irritate anyone. They're all nickel free and really comfortable to wear. So just do it like so, and you've got, well, like a normal fastening on a necklace, which is easy to do. So I'll just continue now with showing you back to this one. You just turn your dial around and over you go. Now, as I said, don't be tempted to use all of the yarn on the pack, which is what I did in the beginning. I used to make them too long, and that can be a common fault. So just beware when you're making them, don't make them too long, because once you've got your fastenings on, there's not a lot you can do about it. So keep going now until it's the length you want. Now, I'm going to pretend now that that is the length I want, right? So I've got to get it off of those 3 pegs now. So I'm going to cut my yarn, cut it about there, excuse me, leaving a couple of, well, up to 12 inches, I would say. I'm still in feet and inches. Right, so I'm going to thread a bodkin needle. A bodkin needle is any needle with a large eye, enable you to thread your yarn through. So I'm going to release it from my little rest, and I'm just going to pick up the 3 stitches on my bodkin, like so, pull it through, pull it all up to the end. Now, if you've got a couple of loops that are sticking out, just give it a good old pull, because you've got to make these ends as nice and neat. All of this, what I'm telling you now, is also written on the free pattern that you get with all the kits and the items. So what I've got to do now is make my two ends to be able to fit into this. Now that are obviously too thick and very messy and untidy. It doesn't look like that, all nice and neat, right? So what I do is I thread, if I've got 3 or 4 yarns, I just thread one yarn. Just pick one that's, if you're knitting with sequins, which some of them are, then obviously don't pick that one because it's quite a fine yarn. But pick the sturdiest yarn you've got in your mix. And you're going to, what I call, make good the ends. So if you've got little loops sticking out, don't worry about it. Go up through with your bodkin and make it come to a point. Can you see that now? I just tidied that up really tidily, and I can go through and do it a little bit more if I choose to, if I wish to. Pull both down. Now, if you've got one strand, then that's really easy because you don't get a messy end with one strand. But if you've got more than 2 strands, then your end can get a bit messy. So you make it good by using the yarn that you have. Now, can you see now? That has now come to quite a point, which will enable me, when I cut that off, to get that. It's sort of acting like a little plug. I've tied lots of little knots in it, so now that little plug fits in there perfectly. And in a minute, I'm going to show you how to glue it in with a bit of the glue gun. Now, your beginning end, which was this one, and my finishing off end will never be the same because I started off wrapping this round my 3 pegs once, which gave me 2 stitches, which gave me double the amount of stitches as what I ended up with. So this end will never be the same as this end, but you're going to make it the same now by doing the same. Cut your knot off, which was the knot which joins the 2 together. Pick up one of your threads, thread your bodkin, and you're going to make good this end now. So if you can see it, it's a bit lumpy there, a bit lumpy and a bit thick looking. So just catch hold of your cotton or thread it on your needle and go through your ends like so until you've really taken up all the slack. And what I call make good your end. There, now look, you can shape it because it's pliable, you can shape it into place. Now that's really good now. Now I'm going to tie it off into lots of little knots. So if you sort of stretch it that way and take out the slack of the yarn, you'll find that your end comes almost the same as the other one. So you make lots of little knots with the needle and cotton there.